Right now, Madison's mayor calls for tougher gun laws after this weekend's shooting at Shake the Lake, while police continue to look for the person responsible.
And we all know construction is a big part of the Wisconsin summer, but starting tomorrow, all road work will stop. We'll tell you why next.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now This Morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for waking up with us on your Tuesday, July 2nd. You're waking up to some soggy weather out there, too.
Kind of like soupy. Like I walked outside and it's like, yeah, it's very thick, like you can cut the air with a knife.
Yeah.
Sauna. Just have to throw another word.
Look at all these adjectives.
My English teacher would be so proud.
Yeah.
Alliteration. Soupy.
Soupy, soggy, and sauna.
And sauna. 3 S's there.
3 S's.
Yeah, it's humid out there, though. That is for sure. Steamy. There we go.
Keep it going,
ooh, sizzly. Nice. Spicy.
Saucy.
Saucy.
Bit of a
oh,
stretch.
my goodness.
Saucy.
I don't know who we just made hungry this morning, but you are going to have a good breakfast. Those ingredients.
Oh, boy.
Temperature-wise, we are in the 70s right now. 76, though, in Kenosha. That gets me. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're 4 degrees away from 80. I thought I left Texas years ago. Here's the deal. We're at 72 right now in Madison. The humidity 91%, the dew point at 69. Once those dew points get above 65, folks, it is downright gross feelings when you step outside, especially when the sun beats down on you. And those dew points are well into the 60s and 70s all throughout the upper Midwest. So be prepared for it to stay humid going throughout the day. That moisture in the atmosphere fueling more rounds of showers and thunderstorms throughout the central part of the state right now. I do believe that'll sink southward as we go throughout the day, increasing our chance to see some storms later on this afternoon. But again, most of these have been to the north of Madison. In our immediate area, with the exception of a couple counties, we are staying predominantly dry this morning. Here's the heat index. We're going to heat up. It's going to feel like the 90s. I actually believe our heat index will likely be probably 5 degrees warmer or so than what's showing up this. So yeah, it'll likely feel like 90 to 96 degrees as we go throughout the day. So be prepared for that. Here's first alert traffic for anyone who is preparing to hit the road. Verona Road at Raymond. So far, no big issues showing up throughout the area. So we'll continue to keep an eye on that.
We are continuing to ride that roller coaster of temperatures, though, right? Because we might see a bit of a cool down coming.
A little cool down this weekend to temperatures that are slightly below average into the upper 70s.
All right.
Welcome sight.
Yes.
A welcome
we'll take
sight. I know.
Thank you very much,
My
Chris,
pleasure.
for that saucy, soupy,
steamy,
spicy,
sizzly,
saucy.
You said
forecast.
that one twice.
Oh my.
That was my favorite.
Of course, it was a good one.
Thank you very much, Chris.
My pleasure.
All right, time right now is 6:02, and right now police are still looking for the person who shot someone at Shake the Lake Saturday night. The man who was shot is now out of the hospital this morning, but police say he isn't talking, so the identity of the shooter is still not known. Police hope DNA evidence from the recovered gun will lead to a suspect.
From a staffing standpoint, only moments after this occurred, we had tactical contingents in place that had never been used before, and we're glad that we were prepared and had them available for this, because because of that presence, we were able to confine and curtail the crime scene, as well as reroute people away from the scene and continue to facilitate the movement of traffic away from potentially harm's way.
Madison Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway is calling for state lawmakers to create stricter gun laws, but gun rights advocates say that wouldn't have necessarily prevented this from happening.
And let me be clear, I would like to be able to do more. I would like to be able to control guns in our city more, but the state does not give us that option.
If the legislature said, okay, Madison, you can make your own laws, and Madison said no guns allowed within the city limits, there's still going to be shootings. They're still going to be happening from the same people that are doing them now.
Wisconsin state statutes don't let cities pass stricter gun laws than that of the state. In 2017, the Wisconsin Supreme Court sided with Wisconsin Carry in a case relating to local control of guns.
Around the state, the man accused of shooting and killing Racine officer John Hetland is being held on a $5 million bond this morning. 26-year-old Delcavis Ward has been charged with first-degree intentional homicide, armed robbery, and possessing a firearm as a felon. Officer Hetland was off duty when he tried stopping an armed robbery at a bar 2 weeks ago. Officers say Ward had been released from federal prison just days before that murder.
And in Camp Douglas, a state employee is dead after performing their duties at Volk Field. In a statement, the Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs said the department is deeply saddened and that they're working with local and state officials to renew the details of that incident. There are still a few details, and the identity of this worker isn't being released until the family is notified.
A Janesville man will serve 15 years in prison after being deemed an armed career criminal. In August of 2018, Royal Powell left a gas station in Janesville and fired his gun at a group of people nearby. Powell was on state supervision for 3 felony convictions at that time and pleaded guilty for having a gun as a convicted felon back in March.
In more local news this morning, car thefts have more than tripled in Middleton, and now police are asking residents to help do something about it. In Dane County, they say a group of juveniles are to blame, and they're bold, going into garages and houses to steal car keys, even in broad daylight. This is security video from a Madison resident showing someone checking the doors of his neighbor's car. It happened just after 7:30 on a Monday morning, broad daylight right there, as you see. These crimes may be bold, but Middleton police say they aren't sophisticated. The key is simply to get folks to lock up.
It's very frustrating for us, too. We keep arresting these kids. They keep coming back in, and we're very afraid that this is going to turn into something worse, you know, that they're going to enter the wrong home, and something bad's going to happen.
Captain Steve Britt says stopping the underage culprits is a tough problem to tackle. They're working on reaching out to families and area organizations to help as well. Captain Britt says after turning 17, this type of activity usually slows down because once they're arrested, they can be prosecuted as an adult.
At the state capitol, Governor Evers is talking about putting an obscure 30-year-old early release program into effect to try and reduce Wisconsin's growing prison population. That plan would stop reincarceration of offenders for rule violations. The governor told the Wisconsin Watch he is optimistic about his ability to reduce the state's prison population by 50%. You might remember that was a major campaign promise of his. Wisconsin's prison system is currently 33% above capacity, with 18 of the 20 adult prisons listed as overcrowded and understaffed. All right, 6:07 your time now. We are well into summer and construction season here in Wisconsin.
But starting tomorrow, the DOT is shutting down all zones for 5 days. Keely Arthur joins us live to share the reason why. Hi, Keely.
Hi, good morning. Well, with a record number of travelers predicted to hit the road this weekend, we know that we're going to see lots of traffic, but we're not going to see a whole lot of construction. Even though you can see some crews doing some work on Verona Road projects right behind me, that's not going to happen beginning tomorrow, Wednesday at noon. All road construction projects will halt under the DOT. That is to keep traffic and fatalities at bay. Now, that's going to happen from Wednesday until next Monday. It includes, of course, the Verona Road project, I-3990 expansion, which is south of Madison. Now, operations will resume at 6 a.m. Monday. Hopefully, this won't happen, but if you are in an accident in a construction zone and you can drive your vehicle, please do so. That's going to help prevent secondary crashes.
Even if you've been in an accident and it's a minor accident where nobody's really seriously injured and you can move your vehicles, by all means, please do so to make sure that the trafficway is open for the rest of the traffic.
Despite being closed for the weekend, the same speed limit rules apply. In construction zones, the speed limit remains 60 miles an hour, regardless of if there's work happening or not. Now, there are 23 major construction projects just happening in south central and southwestern Wisconsin. For details on all of those projects, head to our website, channel3000.com.
Josh, you're going to be one of those people hitting the road, right?
Yeah, heading up to the land of 10,000 lakes later today.
Of course you are. Keely, you going anywhere?
Yeah, I am going somewhere. It's early in the morning, Leah. You caught me off guard. I'm going to Elkhorn, Wisconsin to hang out with some family. So I definitely will be on that I-39 roadway and hopefully no traffic, but I doubt that.
All right, Keely Arthur reporting live for us. Thank you, Keely.
So if you're planning on driving down to Illinois this holiday weekend, you might want to fill up your gas tank before you cross the border. The reason why? Well, the gas tax there has now doubled from 19 cents per gallon to 38 cents per gallon. That hike pushes Illinois from the 10th most expensive state in the country for gas to the 3rd.
Happening tonight, city leaders are set to vote on extending the controversial contract to keep officers in Madison schools. On the agenda for City Council tonight is a new 3-year contract for those officers running through 2022. The school board voted in favor of that contract last month on a narrow 4-3 vote. It does give the district 2 opportunities to remove an officer from one of its high schools over the next 3 years. Tonight's council meeting, by the way, starts at 6:30.
Madison residents could soon be paying more every month on water bills. The Madison Water Utility says it's filing for another rate increase with the state's Public Service Commission. It could mean an increase of $2.20 per month for the average resident, or a little more than $26 per year. That would push the average bill to close to $30 per month. The request comes months after the state approved the water utility's last rate increase request, which was expected to add $7 to the typical monthly bill. If approved, the new rate increase would go into effect next year.
All right, 6:10 your time now. Looking ahead to celebrate the 4th of July, it's a time to remember and honor those who fought to protect our freedoms. Just ahead, we have a look at a Wisconsin man who received a special honor for his service during World War II. Robert Riegel's story is still ahead.
But first, the chance for showers and thunderstorms stays in the forecast through the holiday week as the heat and humidity sticks around. Chris has the latest on your holiday forecast straight ahead on News 3 Now this morning.
Well, it is a beautiful morning here in South Central Wisconsin, and it certainly feels like summer. Very warm and soupy out here, and we're going to add a little steam and sizzle to the rest of the afternoon. But we're tracking some showers and storms right now. Most of those are north of Madison and primarily north of the viewing area as a whole. Some of us were able to get a little damp earlier this morning, but most of these showers and storms are moving throughout the central part of the state. I do suspect an area of more storms to develop back southwest over Iowa today. Those will likely begin to impact the southern half of the state later on this afternoon. In fact, that's where we will begin to see a risk for some severe weather. It's a small one, it's marginal, level 1 out of 2, or out of 5 rather. But whereas most of the storms this morning are from the Dells and points north, I think the storms this afternoon will be from the Dells and then points towards the south. So we're going to watch that. It's not going to be a big washout of an afternoon, but nonetheless, isolated to scattered storm may pop up. In the meantime, beautiful is what it looks like outside. The temperature 72 degrees. Winds are calm right now. Dew points are into the upper 60s, which is why it's humid. 73 in Monroe, Mineral Point, St. Bart, Frenton, Janesville, Kenosha at 76, and Milwaukee at 71. Here's how things are going to look, though, as we go throughout the day. We'll hit the 80s by the later point of the morning, topping out around 85 degrees, and then notice that chance for some showers and storms to develop. If any of those go severe, I do think the bigger risk is going to be the potential for strong winds and some hail, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal at all. We'll repeat the same thing going into your Wednesday, where again, I do think the chance of showers and thunderstorms will target the southern half of the area into Wednesday afternoon. Outside of this, though, it is going to be very toasty and steamy. We're talking feels like temperatures that'll be well into the 90s, perhaps 95 towards 96, not just today, but then again as we move into tomorrow afternoon. So yes, things are certainly going to be very warm and very humid out here for us as we go through the next couple of days. Watch what begins to transpire for us, though. We've been under the control of this very hot air mass for quite some time now. That's going to begin to focus itself back towards the western part of the country. What this is going to do is open us up for some cool shots. So this weekend. Notice that shot of cooler air over the extreme upper Midwest, including us here in Wisconsin. That heat will build back in for an early part of next week, but pay attention to what then dives out of Canada. That cooler air is really going to push southward, perhaps fairly deep into the country. So that will bring us some cooler than normal temperatures. In fact, the Climate Prediction Center actually has us in a decent probability of cooler than normal temperatures going from July 9th through July 15th. So that's going to be something that we will watch. Otherwise, things are certainly going to be wet. Temperature-wise, we'll stay right around to just below average going through the next 10 days other than the weekend, but those rain chances stick around outside of the weekend as well. Daily rain chances going through Friday and into Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon and Sunday look dry before more daily rain chances return by the time we get you towards next week. Now let's take it over to Josh Tim with First Alert Traffic. Josh?
Yeah, it's another quiet start on the Beltline so far this morning. Great news for any of the early commuters. Just look for brake lights to begin to show up soon near the Stoughton Road exit heading westbound near those lane shifts. Other roads here in Dane County not looking too bad. A few slowdowns on northbound Verona Road approaching the Beltline. Nothing to slow you down around campus. Volume should not be an issue at least for another hour or so. And other main routes coming into Madison, they're moving along at the usual speeds with no crashes or delays. Your First Alert Traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh, and thank you, Chris. Okay, this next story might be our favorite of the day. Wisconsin resident Robert Riegel just turned 100 years old. He's a husband, a father, and a veteran who served in World War II.
He's been honored by the American government multiple times over the years. He's not just an American hero, he's also a French hero.
Riegel fought in 4 battles during World War II. He earned a Victory Medal and other high honors, but his latest recognition isn't coming from the American government. Riegel was awarded the French Legion of Honor Medal, the highest military distinction given for those who have accomplished exceptional deeds for France. Riegel's son, Chuck, and many other family members came to the Wisconsin Veterans Home in King to witness the ceremony.
I'm very proud of him and very proud of his service, and the fact that he got this medal is just the frosting on the cake, so it's really very special.
Although Riegel's service ended 7 decades ago, his fight for freedom is something that will never be forgotten by America or its allies.
What an incredible tribute to an incredible man.
That's amazing, and just the go-getter. You always see, like, doesn't matter on the age, right, that you can make a difference in the world yet.
I said this earlier, but very timely with the 4th of July coming.
For sure. All right, the Brewers are on top of their game this week after another victory, and now they are sitting alone at the top of the division. Yes. We'll have the highlights from last night, including a historic homer by Christian Yelich. That's up next.
And Chris Reese is keeping an eye on the forecast for us today. Lots of heat and humidity, plus the chance for thunderstorms coming up throughout the rest of your week. He is in after the break on News 3 Now this morning.
Still a very beautiful morning here in south central Wisconsin. We're looking at the cloud cover that's coming in along with the temperatures because it's going to be a very steamy day. Let's go ahead and show you guys the cloud cover that we're waking up to begin with. So a lot of blue sky. The cloud cover out there, I just want to point out it's beautiful because today will be a very beautiful day outside of any showers and thunderstorms that we may contend with. Temperature-wise, we are very toasty already this morning. Mineral Point, 75 degrees. Janesville and Monroe, both at 73, and then we're at 72 right here in Madison. Here's what happens as we go through the rest of the morning. Our temperatures are going to go from 70s into the low 80s. There will be some scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly in the north. We've been watching that, but a lot of that has been primarily north of the Dells. What we're going to focus on is the afternoon. We'll be partly sunny, temperatures right around 85. It's going to feel a lot warmer, but a few thunderstorms can't be ruled out this afternoon. Meanwhile, look for those heat indices to climb all the way into the 80s. So one thing is for sure, it is going to be a very, very warm afternoon. Josh and Leah.
Packers tight end Lance Kendricks is serving 6 months of probation for possession of marijuana. Kendricks pleaded no contest to the misdemeanor charge last week. If he does 8 hours of community service, the charges will be dropped. A state trooper stopped him back in 2017 on I-41 in Grand Chute and found marijuana in his car.
A former Madison Memorial and Marquette basketball star is returning to the state. Wesley Matthews has agreed to a one-year deal with the Bucks. It will be Matthews' 6th NBA team in 10 seasons. He averaged 12 points per game for the Mavericks, the Knicks, and the Pacers last year. He's also played for Utah and for Portland. He is the second fastest player in the NBA to hit 1,000 career threes, only behind Steph Curry.
Another Wisconsin great is heading to a new team. Frank the Tank Kaminsky has a 2-year deal worth $10 million with the Phoenix Suns. He was the 9th pick in the 2015 NBA draft and spent the last 4 seasons with the Charlotte Hornets, averaging 9.8 points and 4 rebounds a game.
More news out of the free agency frenzy, this time in hockey. Former Badger Joe Pavelski will be leaving San Jose after 13 seasons. It's a 3-year, $21 million deal after the Sharks' general manager said the two sides just couldn't find common ground. He's been the team's captain for the past 4 years, spanning the time when the Sharks won 6 playoff series for their most successful 4-year run in franchise history.
The Brewers are now alone in first place this morning in the division after last night's win over Cincinnati. Christian Yelich singled with the bases loaded and hit his major league leading 30th home run. He's the first Brewer to ever hit 30 home runs before the All-Star break. The Brewers have won 11 out of the last 15 overall against the Reds this year. They play again tonight at 6:10. Before the game, the Brewers posted a statement acknowledging the death of Angels 27-year-old pitcher Tyler Skaggs. The statement says, "We join the rest of the baseball community to mourn the loss of Skaggs. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Tyler's family, friends, and the entire Angels organization." Skaggs was found dead in a Texas hotel room on Monday.
The U.S. women's soccer team faces England today in the World Cup semifinals over in France. The country is in the midst of a heat wave, but temperatures are expected to cool a little bit by the time the match kicks off. Team USA is looking for a 4th World Cup, while England has never made it past the semifinals. Good luck to them. All right, 6:26 your time now. Heavy rains in our area haven't really caused more than a few mild inconveniences for most.
But yesterday, the rain led to a mudslide that left things completely derailed in Grant County. We'll have the latest on that story when News 3 Now This Morning continues. Stay with us.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, folks, and thanks for staying with us on this Tuesday, July 2nd. Chris Reese is hard at work this morning, keeping an eye on a pretty steamy forecast out there.
Yeah, that air's a little thick out there this morning. He'll have the latest on that heat and humidity and also the chance for storms here in just a moment. But first, here are the top 3 things you need to know this morning. Police are still looking for the person who shot someone at Shake the Lake on Saturday, but the man who was shot is out of the hospital this morning. Police say the people involved aren't being cooperative, so they still don't know who the shooter is. They did, however, recover the gun and are hoping DNA evidence leads them to a suspect.
The second story we're following this morning, plans to take down Essen House could be stalled now that the developer for the proposed apartment building is backing out. Alder Marsha Rummel says the fact that the 500 block of East Wilson Street is part of a National Historic Registry could have scared off the developer.
And our third story of the morning here, city leaders are set to vote tonight on extending the controversial school resource officer program at Madison schools. It is a new 3-year contract with those officers running through 2022. The school board voted to approve the new contract last month on a narrow 4-3 vote. Tonight's council meeting starts at 6:30.
Those are the 3 things you need to know to start your day. Chris has a look at the weather and the traffic this morning. Hi, Chris.
Good morning, guys. Of course, we're watching the temperatures because those are fairly steamy out there already. 72 degrees here in town. Mineral Point already at 75 degrees. We're going to be warming up because there's not a lot of cloud cover over the southern tier of the area. That means there's nothing to really stop those temperatures from taking off. Current conditions right now, you can actually see some of the cloud cover towards the north and west from our sky camera that's looking out towards the west. Temperature wise, again, we're at 72. The dew point, 69. Folks, with dew points in the upper 60s and low 70s. Whew, it is the air you can wear. It's going to be very humid and soupy as you step outside today, so be prepared for that. The moisture, of course, fueling the showers and thunderstorms that we have seen. A lot of those moving over towards eastern Michigan or western Michigan right now and eastern Wisconsin. But I'm watching this zone right in here. I think we'll see some redeveloping showers and thunderstorms this afternoon that'll push towards the south and east and then eventually towards southern Wisconsin. So a lot of these dells or a lot of these showers towards the north of the dells right now. I think they'll be south of the dells later on this afternoon. It will not be a washout of an afternoon. I do want to specify that. By the way, temperature-wise, we'll top out right around 85. With the humidity, it'll likely feel like at least 90, perhaps as warm as 95 degrees later on. So I would say bundle up, but just make sure you're staying cool, I guess. Whatever you can do. Just think opposite of winter, but it's going to be hot out there, that's for sure.
A little bit of good advice there. Thank you very much, Chris. 6:32 your time now. We are just 2 days away from the 4th of July, when you might be one of the 49 million people AAA expects to be hitting the road.
Yeah, if you are headed out of town for the holiday weekend, there is some good news traffic-wise as well. We always love the good news, and especially when Keely Arthur is live to bring it to us this morning. Keely, how's it going this morning?
Oh, it's going great. It's really beautiful out. I always get a little nervous with Chris's forecast that it's going to be rainy, but gorgeous out here. We're just off of Verona Road. Crews are working on construction right now, but starting tomorrow, all of that is going to stop. That's because we have record-breaking travelers predicted to hit the road this 4th of July weekend, and the DOT wants to curb any crashes or fatalities that could happen. That means starting at noon tomorrow, construction work on most major highway projects throughout the state will be suspended during the holiday weekend to help travelers reach their destinations safely and efficiently. That includes work here on Verona Road and the I-3990 expansion, which is south of us. Operations resume next Monday. Now, hopefully this won't happen, but if you are in an accident in a construction zone and you can drive your vehicle, please do so. That's going to help prevent secondary crashes.
Wisconsin has a steer it clear law where if you can move your vehicle safely, please do so. Get it out of traffic, take it to a next exit if you have to, then call the police so we can respond.
Despite being closed for the weekend, the same speed limit rules apply in construction zones. That speed limit remains 60 miles an hour. Now, last year, there were 5 fatalities over the 4th of July weekend in the entire state, including one here in Dane County. Really important to put your cell phones away and stay focused on the road. So hopefully we can bring that number down this year.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some smooth sailing back to Minnesota today. And Keely, Leah says that she's not too worried about the traffic because she doesn't have to deal with that while she's in her kayak.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so much better, much more peaceful than hitting the roads and driving in all that traffic.
Hey.
Quite a headache, I'm sure.
Doing my part to cut down on the congestion.
Just look out for the...
very environmentally friendly.
Yeah, the only traffic she'll have to look out for are the ducks.
I'll bring a full report back.
Keely Arthur live for us this morning. Keely, thank you.
All right, more local news this morning. Cleanup efforts will continue today after a train in Grant County was derailed after a mudslide. It happened about a quarter-mile south of Glen Haven after that area got around 8 inches of rain overnight. Grant County Emergency Management says about 15 train cars were involved, but there is no threat to the public and there were no injuries. Officers think that mudslide pushed debris onto the tracks and caused the problem.
I do know that they did hit some rocks, and we could see some rocks and debris on the tracks right from the boat landing in Glen Haven. So it was pretty apparent that there was material on the tracks.
The train was carrying transport containers, not any chemicals. DNR officials are still checking the environmental impact, though, which appears to be minimal at this point. Debris from the train should be cleared up within the next couple of days.
Also in southwest Wisconsin, a barn is destroyed this morning after a fire in the village of Belmont. The Lafayette County Sheriff's Office says they were dispatched around 4:30 Monday afternoon to the fire on Bethel Grove Road. The barn burned to the ground, and we saw crews digging through the rubble. No word yet if anyone was hurt.
More than $4 billion is headed to the southern border this morning to improve health conditions for detained migrant refugees. President Trump signed that $4.6 billion emergency aid bill yesterday. The measure had passed the Senate last Wednesday, and the following day it passed the House. Meanwhile, President Trump also suggesting he'll move forward with immigration raids after the 4th of July holiday. Here in Madison, local leaders say they are continuing to stand by the immigrant community. The Madison Police Department has said it will not give out immigration information or participate in ICE raids unless required to do so under the law. Police Chief Mike Koval, though, told our Keely Arthur that officers would assist ICE in deportation of known criminals. All right, 6:36 your time now. A miracle recovery has led a local pet owner to do more to prevent animal euthanization.
How you can get involved in fostering a pet to give it a better chance at finding a forever home. This is News 3 Now this morning. Live look at Leah Linscheid out on the kayak this morning.
Boy, I wish. This is going to be me in about 3 days there, Josh. You want to join me?
That looks like a spectacular picture there. Thank you so much for sharing, Terry. That is incredible.
Terry, you're giving me some inspiration for my 4th of July. I am hoping Chris can keep the rain holding off long enough so I can get a picture like this, share it myself.
Yeah, Leah needs a good kayaking forecast. We'll have to see just about that. Terry, thanks so much for sharing. If you've got a photo that you would like to share, and if it's a kayak in it, you know Leah Linscheid's gonna love it.
You better believe it.
You can take a picture and post it to our Channel 3000 Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, and just use the hashtag MyNews3Morning.
All right, we have an update now to a story we first told you about back in February about Henry the cat, who was nearly decapitated trying to find warmth under the hood of a car.
Henry has made a near full recovery from his injuries and was adopted last week by his foster dad. Being able to give Henry a second chance at life inspired Ben Nelms to do something more. Nelms is starting a fostering network and needs people to join to help curb the rate of euthanasia at the Sauk County Humane Society. He says Henry could have been euthanized, and his story will hopefully inspire others to help out and give other animals a second chance at life.
The network is small, but we're able to have 10 more Henrys a year and 30 more timid animals a year. It's better, right? It's better than it was before.
We have information on how you can join a fostering network over on channel3000.com. Good to see Henry doing so well.
There are so many good things that you can do to help those animals out.
Yes.
All right, bouncing back and forth from the high heat and humidity to thunderstorms seems to be the trend in this week's forecast. Chris Reese will have a look at that holiday when we come up here in just a little bit. 4th of July, just a couple days away.
But first, it's July 2nd, folks. We want to say happy birthday to Jack, Violet, and all the kids turning 3 today. Stay dry and stay cool today, and thanks for celebrating with us here on News 3 Now this morning.
Look at
Beautiful shot there on a Tuesday morning, 6:45 right now, 2 days away from the 4th of July, and it's feeling a little hot out there.
Oh, yeah, this is a 4th of July kind of forecast, right, Chris?
That's right, and just a little hot, the fireworks have been going with the showers and thunderstorms from yesterday. We've had some of those this morning as well. Most of those have been towards the north and east of the Madison area, primarily north of the Wisconsin Dells, but these go all the way back into Minnesota. Here's how they've been tracking over the past 12 hours throughout central northern Wisconsin, and then some of those have then fizzled out. But I think we're going to see redeveloping area of thunderstorms throughout northeastern Iowa this afternoon. That will then move southward. So that's where our thunderstorm chance comes in for here in the Madison area later on this afternoon and evening. There's a marginal risk for some of those to be severe. I don't think everyone gets in on a severe storm later on, but the chance is there. Again, this morning, these storms are from the Dells and point north. This afternoon, any shower and thunderstorm development, I do believe, is going to be from the Dells and then point towards the south. Not everyone gets the thunderstorm this afternoon, but nonetheless, the chance is there. The sky, absolutely beautiful, as always. Temperature-wise, we're at 72 right now. Dew points are into the upper 60s. So, yes, it is very hot, steamy, and soupy out there. I like to call it the air you can wear. 77 and Mineral Point right now, out of control already this morning. Most of those temperatures are well into the 70s, 60s where the clouds and the showers are, so they're going to be a little bit slower to warm up in the northern part of the viewing area. But here's what happens. This is 10 o'clock. Temperatures will already be into the 80s at that point. We'll top out around 85. We will have that chance again for showers and thunderstorms, mainly south of the Dells. Future track really picking up on that pretty well. That gets on out of here. We'll cool back down overnight, and then we do it all over again into Wednesday afternoon. But I do think it's going to target the southern half of the area Wednesday afternoon with temperatures again into the 80s. Let's talk about the heat index, though. With the humidity, yes, we are certainly going to feel like the mid and upper 90s before those showers come in and grace us with a nice little cool down before the heat and humidity return once again into tomorrow. So take the weather as it is every couple of moments. But I'll tell you what, over time, we will begin to cool things down. I'm watching some cooler air over Canada. It's going to try to dive southward. We'll get a little taste of that this weekend, but it's going to be, say, towards the end of next week that we really start to see some of those cooler temperatures take over. In fact, folks, as we go through the next 8 to 14 days, we actually have a probability of below normal temperatures here in the upper Midwest. So that'll be welcome, but in the meantime, it's going to be hot. It's going to be steamy. We'll get a little cool down this weekend, and then we keep the warmth and the storm chances coming right back. Here's your pet walk, by the way. Oh, well, that's traffic, so pet walk is missing. We'll get pet walk in for you guys later on. Forgot to turn it back on.
We can't forget the pet walk.
I know, that's all right.
It's a
we will
holiday
bring
week.
the pet walk for you guys.
All right. For the pets.
Yes.
Groceries for the pets. Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
Stay with us. The Morning Sprint is up next. All right, folks, it's 6:51. Time for the morning sprint as our team gets you the most local news to start your day.
We begin this morning in downtown Madison, where police are still looking for the person who shot someone at Shake the Lake Saturday night. We do know the man who was shot is out of the hospital this morning. Police say the people involved aren't being cooperative, so they still don't know who the shooter is. They did, however, recover a gun and are hoping DNA evidence leads them to a suspect.
Officials say the man accused of killing a Racine police officer was released from federal prison just days before the murder. 26-year-old Delcavis Ward is being held on a $5 million bond in the shooting death of Officer John Hetland. Officer Hetland was off duty when he tried stopping an armed robbery at a bar 2 weeks ago.
In Camp Douglas, a state employee is dead after performing their duties at Volk Field. In a statement, the Wisconsin Department of Military Affairs said the department is deeply saddened and they're working with local and state officials to review the details of this incident. The identity of the worker is being held until the family is notified.
A Janesville man will serve 15 years in prison after being deemed an armed career criminal. In August of 2018, Royal Powell shot at a group of people outside a gas station. Powell was on state supervision for 3 felony convictions at the time of that shooting and pleaded guilty for having a gun as a convicted felon back in March.
Cleanup efforts continue this morning in Grant County after a train was derailed by an apparent mudslide. Emergency management says about 15 train cars were involved, but there's no threat to the public and there were no injuries. Officials think that mudslide from yesterday's heavy rain pushed debris onto the tracks and caused the problem. Debris from the train should be cleared up within the next 2 days.
We've been watching the showers and thunderstorms mainly north of Madison and north of the Dells this morning. A lot of that starting to move out of the area, but a few more showers and thunderstorms may develop back towards the south and west throughout the day. That'll bring in storm chances later on this afternoon. Temperature-wise, it's very warm. 70s already showing up. Will likely top out right around 85 degrees later on today. You factor in the humidity, it'll feel like the 90s.
Thanks, Chris. A new bill is sending money to our southern border to improve health conditions for detained migrant refugees. President Trump signed the $4.6 billion emergency aid bill for the southwest border Monday. The bill passed Congress last week.
While President Trump also talks about more immigration raids in the coming days, Madison city leaders say they will continue to stand by the immigrant community. The Madison Police Department has said it will not participate in ICE raids unless required to do so under the law, though Police Chief Mike Koval says officers would assist ICE in the deportation of known criminals.
New guidelines from the CDC now recommend that men receive the HPV vaccine up to age 26, the same age advised for women. Children should start receiving doses around 11 or 12, and adults up to age 45 should talk to their doctor if they haven't been vaccinated. HPV is most commonly spread through intercourse and is known to cause several types of cancer.
The Madison Water Utility says it's filing for another rate increase with the state's Public Service Commission. That could mean an increase of just over $2 a month for the average resident, which would push the average bill around $30 a month. If it's approved, that rate increase would go into effect next year.
Tonight at 6:30, city leaders are set to vote on extending the controversial school resource officer program at Madison schools. On the council's agenda this evening is the new 3-year contract for those officers running through 2022. The new contract extends the use of the officers, but also gives the district 2 opportunities to remove an officer from one of its high schools.
Behind me right now, but starting tomorrow, all of that will stop to help keep motorists and construction workers safe this holiday weekend. At noon on Wednesday, the roads construction projects will shut down this holiday weekend to help travelers reach their destinations safely and efficiently. That work includes Verona Road and I-3990. Operations resume next Monday. The speed limit remains 60 in construction zones. For more details on all of the projects, head to our website.
Keely, thank you. If you're planning on driving through Illinois this holiday weekend, fill up your tank before you cross the border. The gas tax there is now doubled from 19 cents per gallon to 38 cents per gallon. That hike pushes Illinois from the 10th most expensive state in the country for gas to the 3rd.
The Brewers are now alone in first place in the NL Central after last night's win over Cincinnati. Christian Yelich singled with the bases loaded, then hit his 30th home run. The Cubs are now 1 game behind the Brewers after their 18-5 loss against the Pirates last night.
Now, before the game, the Brewers posted a statement acknowledging the death of the Angels' 27-year-old pitcher Tyler Skaggs. The statement says, quote, "We join the rest of the baseball community to mourn the loss of Tyler Skaggs. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Tyler's family, friends, and the entire Angels organization." Skaggs was found dead in a Texas hotel room on Monday.
6:56. Time now to turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Josh.
Hi, good morning, guys. Picking up on the westbound Beltline near the Stoughton Road exit near the lane shifts. Plan an extra couple minutes added to your drive time. Inbound side of John Nolan, you're tapping the brakes at Rimrock and Nolan Avenue heading into the downtown Madison area. And other main routes, including the interstate coming into the city, they're moving along at the usual speeds. Not looking at any major crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you very much, Josh.
We are starting out with temperatures that are right around 73 degrees. We're going to be warming up as we go throughout the day, folks. In fact, temperatures likely topping out right around 85. You factor in the humidity, and it will likely feel like 90 to 95 at points of the day. So spicy, sizzly, soupy,
saucy,
steamy, saucy. All the words are certainly out. And here is that pet walk that has the S's, Stormy and Sasha. They are in Middleton. If you are walking your dog later on this afternoon, you may play a little splash and dash with temperatures right around 85.
Oh, fitting. Hopefully we can keep the storms away for Stormy and Sasha.
Yes, absolutely. Definitely walk your pets if you can. Otherwise, get outside. I think the weather is great enough that we can still enjoy the weather outside of any showers and storms.
We'll take that. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Make it a great Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning.